Bullaby must not going to be able to make it to good, but hey, the show must go on. We had a very crappy edition, July 4th edition of Monday Night Raw. I didn't like it. I mean, I don't try to give my opinion, but I don't like it, and I'm just going to give you the basics of it and what happened. I thought it was a really poor show, very poor ratings probably going to come out of this, but this was the supposed to be a holiday edition. It was Independence Day, celebrating the 4th of July. So we just dive right into into it. Today's episode, it began off like typically every holiday does. All the superstars were gathered around tables eating, and then there was a food fight started with The Miz and Maurice, and Kevin Owens ended up getting the last bit of food in his face after he was under a table the whole time and did get a bit of food on him. Poor Heath Slater was on the end of a double choke slam by Kane and the Big Show through a table, and let's just say he got most of the meal out of that one. So anyway, we had Lillian Garcia do a great rendition of America the Beautiful, and she done a great job with it. First, leading us off into the show was Rusev defending the U.S. title against Titus O'Neil. It was a really good show. Matchup, decent, for their feud. Rusev got Titus O'Neil to tap out when it put him in the Accolade, and Rusev ended up continuing on attacking Titus O'Neil after the bell. So, that just could continue further on the feud that they have and shows once again just how much of a monster Rusev really is. Second matchup was the Social Outcasts, which were dressed like the men, come out, and Enzo Cass was real funny, making jokes about the presidents, and he was named off the presidents and whatnot, and it was a basic match. The match ended up with basically Enzo and Cass hitting the boom shakalaka on the Social Outcasts to get the win. Decent match. Up next, we see Charlotte and Dana Brooke. They're in the ring. Charlotte's cutting her heel promo towards, Sasha Banks, and she calls her jealous and whatnot, and this causes Sasha to come out there and saying that, her dad she would have been champion before, but Charlotte's dad was there to help, and, and like that, and she ended up, Dana Brooks tried to end up hitting Sasha, and Sasha dodged it. She ended up putting Charlotte in the bank statement, and it ended up she got saved by Dana Brooke pulling Charlotte by the legs out of the ring so that she could escape from any more pain from the bank statement from Sasha Banks. So looks like this is going to continue their feud. I look pretty soon if Charlotte is coming close to with the title, but I think that Sasha Banks is due for a title run with it. So probably look forward to Sasha Banks probably sooner or later getting the women's championship. So decent promo, decent chink into their feud. That's a good thing to have, and I want to see that feud. Both are really athletic. Up next was oddly we had the WWE champion, Dean Ambrose. Yes, I didn't say WWE World Champion. Apparently, they're already getting ready for the brand split because no longer Dean was typically known before as the WWE World Heavyweight Champion when they put the titles together, but now since they're breaking them apart again, apparently, he's just a WWE Champion. But he had a match, a title versus a champion versus champion matchup. Titles weren't on the line against The Miz, which we saw, or which was earlier in the show that triggered the food fight to begin with, and this all-white outfit he had on. But that actually was a good match. It was a decent match between The Miz and between Dean Ambrose. And he ended up easily defeating The Miz after hitting a Dirty Deeds, and then after the matchup, Seth Rollins was coming down as Dean was leaving, and they both exchanged looks at each other. And as Seth was walking to the ring ready for his match, and Ambrose gave this look, and he stopped at the end of the ramp going up onto the stage, and he looked, and you could tell he had this weird look in his eye. So basically, he went back to the ring, and you thought they were going to interact, but then he slides out the other side. Oddly enough, he gets on the Spanish announcers he sits with the Spanish announcers and starts speaking, trying to speak Spanish and calling the match, but then he ends up being right there with between the Spanish announce table and the Raw announce table. So he was there watching the matchup. He said he really gets a good high on and a good adrenaline rush watching a good matchup. And the matchup Seth Rollins had to take was one against Shawn Michaels 2.0, Mr. Dolph Ziggler himself. He had the headband on, everything. He done the super kick, the sweet chin music stomp and everything. So I guess he's going to do that now. Or apparently that's his staple move now, that kick. I mean, everybody kicks and does the super kicks. There really is no, it's kind of, everybody does it now. So why make it one of your moves other than the zigzag? So, Ziggler tries to get him in the zigzag. Rollins holds on, ends up putting him in the pedigree. 1, 2, 3. You see the matchup ends with Seth Rollins winning the matchup. After that, Seth Rollins got out of the ring while Dean was still sitting at the announce table. He climbs up and he starts cutting a promo. Roman Reigns, how he shouldn't be in the title picture and how he shouldn't be dealing with. He shouldn't be in there. He should be suspended because of everything, how he was a role model and how he wasn't. This prompts Dean to grab a mic. Dean gets on the Spanish announce table, and he and Seth go back and forth, verbal and fight with each other. And he said, and Seth says he's going to get his title back and he's going to claim it. And then Dean ends up telling him here he can have it, throws it to him, and then they go back and forth, and it ends up where Seth gets the dirty deeds by Dean Ambrose onto the announce table, which doesn't break, but you kind of get the idea on where this is going to. And he ends up grabbing his belt and looking down at Seth and pointing to him and talking to him. So this is continuing on with their feud, which is good because you have that triple threat match coming up at Battleground, which is where all these storylines and hopefully are progressing to. So we look forward to seeing that. Up next, we come back, and oddly enough, the Wyatt family are in this barn, and they cut a a promo, and they're talking about how New Day is trying to spread positivity and how positivity is nothing but a myth. And he says, but fear's one thing that's real, and it's kind of egging it towards and really Xavier, he's been kind of under that trance lately, so. It just kind of wait to see on what happens with that. Up next, we get a surprise. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, you start hearing, excuse me, and it's nobody, one other than the ex-general manager of SmackDown, Vicky Guerrero. And Vicky is there to, hype basically the brand split and how she wants to be the SmackDown CEO, and she's throwing her name in the book, in the race, and, she wants everybody to choose her. And we see the police come out there and they start, or security, and haul her away. And then they cut to the back and we see Dolph Ziggler, which he and her had a thing when she was on the show. And Dolph was on the phone, and he puts it on hold, and he stops him, and then he acts like he doesn't know who she is, and they end up taking her on out, and Dolph's just laughing at her. So nice little thing there. But good to see Vicky back after about a year or two, away from Raw. So good to see her back. Up next, we see the Big Show. Now, the Big Show is leading this. Now, there is a 16-man tag team elimination matchup. You have 8-man team of Team America, Team USA, that's led by the Big Show, and you have the multinational alliance, and I guess Jericho leads it. They never said who the leader was, but you could kind of see Jericho was kind of trying to keep everybody together. But, Big Show gives everybody, his team, a pep talk, and his team consists of Apollo Crews. It has Zack Ryder, Kane, Mark Henry, Jack Swagger, and Ollie left the Dudley Boys. So, they had the Battle Hymn of the Republic playing in the background while he was trying to talk to them and pump them up, and said that they got to put their differences aside, that, this is Team USA, and they got to face, and they got to come out with this win. So they all march out together, and, and they eventually leave. And like I said, up next we see Golden Truth take on the Vaudevillains, as we see Golden Truth get their win last week, and Breezango is there at ringside. You see Fandango and Tyler Breeze watching the matchup, and um, they got, and then it says that as for payback for interfering in their concert earlier, R-Truth and Goldust end up picking up the win with the final cut, Tandem Bomb, type power bomb thing on Aiden English. Golden Truth then end up taunting Breezango after the matchup. So they defeat the Vaudevillains in this matchup. Vaudevillains hadn't been on a good roll. I don't know why they keep having a heel team that's not picking up any wins or even cheating to win. They're losing every single thing. It's like they're a job or tag team, but that's a heel team. They've got to have some sort of win here somehow. Up next, we see Bob Backlund yet again. He's still trying to make Darren Young great again, and he gives the chicken wing as his finishing move to Darren Young. Apparently, Darren Young's going to start to use now whenever he ends his matches. So Bob Backlund passes that down to Darren Young to use. Before any Raw shows up, the Golden Boy, the franchise, the face that runs the place, John Cena, he's out there talking about America in the Club, and he says he likes one of them a lot more than he does the other. So guess who he's talking about? But then AJ Styles and the Club come out there, and AJ makes this funny promo about how every year, every holiday, they're going to beat up John Cena, and how that he can't do nothing about it. That there's nobody in the back that likes him, that's going to help him, and he mentioned all through the holidays, and he said, this is Independence Day, July 4th. Looks like we're going to have to beat up John Cena. So they start going to the ring, and they all jump on John Cena. Lo and behold, Enzo and Cass, they come out, and they all kind of make it evened up, and they get chase AJ Styles and the Club out of the ring, and we end up seeing that apparently that's going to be a matchup in the Battleground pay-per-view, is John Cena and Enzo and Cass versus the Club with AJ Styles. So looking forward to that matchup, as I like AJ Styles and that. As in Nobody Cares, the Shining Stars are there, and they're waving tiny American flags, and a photo of the fireworks and stuff, and they're basically behind a green screen, and they want the fans to enjoy their freedom, and just like they do every day, they enjoy their days every day in Puerto Rico. So that's just a vignette they've cut of that. Up next, we have a women's matchup. We have Becky Lynch taking on Summer Rae. I don't know quite why they're taking on each other. Summer Rae's just kind of a nuisance, I guess. Becky ends up defeating Summer Rae with the disarmor, and then Natalya, she's end up, as she's watching the matchup in the back, because she's not too happy with the outcome of that matchup, as in Becky getting a win, thus furthering the feud with Natalya going into Battleground. So then we cut back from commercial, and you see Enzo and Cass sitting at a table. You see Cass with the Sonic boom box that's on sale now at Sonic, and you see Enzo with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with the crust cut off of it, and they're all looking over the food. So I guess they're promoting Sonic's food now, or making a little ad for it, but they do that. Up next, we see the New Day come out, and they're all jumping around and everything, and you could see that Xavier Woods just isn't himself. He wasn't since the other day. He hasn't been since New Day has started talking, and they're joking all, and then all of a sudden Bray Wyatt comes back up and cuts another promo about the New Day, wanting them to come to their compound, and for New Day to come to their compound to meet them. So that's what we see. And after it, Big E and Kofi are both laughing about it and joking. And Xavier, he stops him and says, "Look, you got to take this serious. The fun and games is over with because these people mean business." He said that you've got to treat them as a threat. You don't realize that you're making fun and jokes, but you've got to take these men seriously, or or they end up being no more New Day because of it. So I don't know if this is a storyline for the New Day to break up, but it looks like then he ends up dropping the mic and he goes out the ring, leaves Francesca too still in the ring as we see look at Big E, and we look at Kofi Kingston looking at each other because they don't know what to do, but we'll see how that goes in the situation. But as we say, folks, that's basically what it is pushing out the storyline between Xavier and the Wyatt. So we'll see where that leads us to with that feud. This is more likely going to be a good feud between positivity and fear. So this is what I'm looking forward to this feud. We see, and last but not least, the show is the match that's going to end it out for tonight. It's your basic 16-man tag match. You have two 8-man tag teams. You have Team USA, which I named earlier, and then you have on the Team Multi National Alliance is what they're called. You have I hope I get everybody. You have Jericho. You have Kevin Owens, you have Sami Zayn, you have Cesaro, you have um, Alberto Del Rio, and you have the Lucha Dragons. I think that's all of those guys there, if I'm not mistaken. Any Sheamus, if I didn't say Sheamus, they were there. It comes down to it. You see, Team America is down 2 men to the Big Show and Zack Ryder. They're against Sheamus, Jericho, Del Rio, and Cesaro, and somehow Team America ends up overcoming the odds and pulling this one out when Zack Ryder eliminates Sheamus with the Rough Rider, and then he and Big Show celebrate underneath the big flag that's spread over the ring, and they're happy and they're just glad, and the Big Show and them two smile as we go off the air. So that was the Raw report for Raw in review for this week, July 4th, 2016. Team B, this is Bill Mack here, and hopefully Team Bullet B will be back soon. And this is this week's edition. And everyone take care and have a great night.